The elven woman snapped her fingers, attempting to charm the pale man with the large hawk wings. His legs were instead talons. He pushes through, and then he fires off four different arrows towards the woman as their revenge. The Trekkle are unique in their appearance, as each Trekkle is different. The Trekkle are a race that has been humans mixed with some sort of animals. Even among the Trekkles that are the same animal type, they could still be very, very different in appearance. As example, two lion Trekkles could have one being much more human with lion tail, ears, and claws, while another could look much more like a humanoid lion. The appearance and state of the Trekkle mutation is up to the player. The Trekkle have lived on a segregated island for the past hundreds of years. They have been discovered more recently by an explorer named Daniel Redrose. The Trekkle have always been much more tribal and savage compared to their Dark Ages era of the traditional Dungeons and Dragons. After their discovery and introduction to the rest of the world, the Trekkles still tend to stay mostly to themselves, but seeing a Trekkle among the cities of other species isn't particularly rare. The animal people who have been abandoned by society, Trekkles are traditionally more tribal, but a proud and strong race. The Trekkle tend to feel mostly indifferent to other species and their day-to-day problems. Most of the Trekkle will stay on their islands or hometown and live simple lives without any love for struggles. When struggles do show themselves, they don't tend to take the best approach at trying to solve it themselves. So welcome, this is the Trekkle race. We're going to have three art pieces for the Trekkle race, for different sub races for them. The third one that's in this was not drawn by the traditional artist. That was actually originally drawn by me, and then AI assisted art used by the AImirror app. I messed around with it a little bit, and I was able to turn my my simple drawing style into something pretty unique. So we're gonna get there. So first off, base Trekkle traits. As a Trekkle, your dexterity score is increased by 2. You reach maturity at around age 20. You can live to be around 100 years old. Most Trekkle are size medium. However, large or small Trekkle is also a possibility. So pretty much your size can be from small to large. Small, medium, or large, it is your choice. The Trekkles, you know Common, Sylvan, and one other language of your choice. Now we're going to get into the subraces. The first subrace is the Centaur Trekkle. A Centaur Trekkle can have any creature that has 4 legs be the Trekkle's bottom half. It doesn't have to just be a horse. And they can have a straight human or animal humanoid top. So you probably see this a lot mostly in the furry community, let's be honest. But imagine if you don't want to go with having the horse bottom half as being a centaur, you can choose to go. You can choose to, instead of having the horse bottom half, be, I don't know, like a lion bottom half, and you are suddenly have the bottom part of your body is a lion body. It's really just as much fun as you want to have. As a centaur Trekkle, your strength modifier increases by 1, or strength score increases by 1, not modifier. You get your base walking speed is 45 feet instead of 30 as a centaur Trekkle. You have a charge feature. If you make an attack after moving your full movement, you can add your proficiency bonus to the attack and attempt to push the creature 10 feet. And they have to make a strength saving throw. The DC is 8 plus your strength score plus your proficiency bonus. You also get a feature called Equine Body. Being a centaur, your size is large. Finally, a medium or smaller creature can ride on your equine back if you allow it. In such a situation, you continue to act independently and not as a mount. So simple, first one, that is the Centaur Trekkle. Next one is the Winged Trekkle. Here we have the art of a peacock-based Winged Trekkle. These ones are definitely the simplest, not the simplest, but definitely a simpler Trekkle. A winged Trekkle can be any winged/flying creature mix. Some of their bodies look more bird-like, much like this one. Much like, similar to an Owlin or an Aarakocra. But some have been known to look like humans with bird wings and talons instead of feet. All winged Trekkles have talons no matter what. Some Trekkles can have their head replaced with that same bird head as their bird wings. So as a winged Trekkle, your Wisdom modifier increases by 1, or Wisdom score increases by 1, and you get a flying speed of 45 feet. So very fast flying speed as a winged Trekkle. Then that's it for the winged Trekkle. Next is the clawed Trekkle. This is a lion clawed Trekkle in the art. Most predatory Trekkles have claws. A clawed Trekkle can look like any animal that has claws, much like a tabaxi, leonin, or even some lizard-like creatures. They can be either human with animal claws and animal ears, or they could be full animal looking like a humanoid, or more in the shape of a humanoid, but full animal. So your charisma score increases by 1, and you have natural claws. You can make an attack with your claws. Your claws deal 1d6 plus your strength or dexterity modifier, use your choice. And then your base movement speed is increased by an additional 5 feet. It's a Clawed Trekkle. So that's the Clawed Trekkle. That's it for them. Yet again, each of these subclasses are kind of a little more simple. We're getting into the complicated ones soon. Next is the Scaled Trekkle. As a Scaled Trekkle, you are some sort of lizard or naturally protected Trekkle. Most Scaled Trekkle look closer along the lines of a turtle or even particularly a dragon or other lizard-like creatures. However, they can either look like a human with scales in some places or a shell, or you can look closer to a lizard folk being fully humanoid that looks like some sort of animal that typically has scales. As a Scaled Trekkle, your constitution score increases by 1. You have a natural armor, so your natural AC without wearing armor is now a 13 plus your dexterity modifier. So that's if you're not wearing armor, you have a natural AC of 13 plus your dex. And tough scales, your scales are naturally tough. Anytime you take slashing damage from a non-magical source, you can reduce the incoming damage by your total level. You can use this feature once and must finish a short or long rest before you can use this feature again. So that's the Scaled Trekkle, pretty simple. This next one is the Pheonix Trekkle, a very special, a little bit more rare one. This is the one that I drew and then used the AImirror app on my phone to modify it. So here's the art for them. This is a Pheonix Trekkle. A Pheonix Trekkle is a Trekkle that either has phoenix wings or 3 feathery phoenix tails. You can either look closer to an Aarakocra with a beak and fully feathered body, or they could look like a human with either their wings or with 3 magical tails. As a Pheonix Trekkle, your constitution score increases by 1. You are resistant to fire damage, and you have a feature called Feathery Choice. As a Pheonix Trekkle, you can choose to either have wings or their triple tails. You can only choose one of these 2 options. If you choose wings, you get a flying speed of 30 feet. But if you choose the triple tails, you get 3 feathery tails. Whenever you are being revived, one of your tails can be turned into dust to make it so that no material components will be needed to revive you. These tails do not regrow by any means, except by either being revived by true resurrection or the wish spell. So this is a very unique feature, a racial feature built in to pretty much freely revive you, but only 3 times, and you would need a 9th level spell to gain them back. Which by that point, honestly, death doesn't mean that much because you have so much money you can keep buying diamonds to keep reviving people. It's pretty ridiculous. So that was the Trekkle, all 5 sub-races and the 3 pieces of art we have for each of the sub-races. A little bit of an interesting animalistic, half animal, or not animalistic, half animal race. But we're going to get into the next one. The next one is the Volar. Floating down gracefully, the blue feathered bird, like humanoid, landed on the dock of their little village and grabbed their bag of treasures to give their family once they arrived back at their home, chirping softly to themselves as they walked. The Volar are avian humanoids that resemble exotic birds of many different species. They are covered in a thick layer of colorful feathers that vary in hue from individual to individual. Rather than having arms, much like humans do, the Volar have a long pair of wings with feathered appendages that resemble human fingers and thumbs, allowing them to grab and hold objects with their wings. The Volar have evolved in a separate line off the other bird races in the world of D&D. They have evolved long ago from Aarakocra. Their wings evolved to combine with their arms, and they have grown to become more and more lightweight to suit their nimble movement they need. They tend to prefer colder regions as their feathers are excellent at keeping them warm. The Volar society is simple and easy to understand. It combines the Volar traditions of old with the structure of modern civilization. Each village is led by a village elder, an elderly and wise Volar, elected by popular vote. They remain in power until they die, or they are voted to be removed from their position. So this is the art of a Volar. This was also not drawn by the typical artist. The typical artist being Arlene Void on Twitter. This was drawn by KYTY Animations. They actually have a YouTube channel. I will just toss a link in the description of their YouTube channel they have. They're the ones that drew the Volar art for me. And yes, this is a race I had mentioned previously. The Volar are based off of the Rito from Legend of Zelda, both from Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, from those games. But besides it is based off of that, there's still also kind of like Harpies a little bit. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. As a Volar, you gain a +2 to your Dexterity score and a +1 to your Wisdom score. Volars reach maturity at age 20 and can live to be up to 80 years old. Volar average around 5.5 feet tall. Your size is medium. You gain proficiency in either Perception or Survival, your choice. As a Volar, you have a base walking speed of 30 feet. You also have a feature called Winged Arms. As a Volar, your arms are also a pair of wings, and they do work for you. You have a base flying speed of 30 feet. However, while flying, you cannot use your hands to hold weapons. But while you are flying, you may use any weapon that lacks the heavy property with your feet and still have your proficiency with them. In addition, you cannot fly if you are wearing medium or heavy armor. So essentially, imagine you are up in the air. You're most likely going to end up using ranged weapons while in the air. So long as you are proficient with a weapon and it lacks the heavy property, you can use your feet to use it. Anyway, okay, I'm back. If there's a weird sound in the background, I am sorry. I'm tired of waiting for that to finish. Just go ahead and finish this up. There's only one feature left for the Volar, then we can talk about the next video. The last feature for the Volar is the Volar's Gale. As a Volar, you are able to control the wind around you. You gain access to the Gust of Wind spell, and you may cast it once without expending a spell slot. Wisdom is your spellcasting modifier for this. In addition, while the spell is active in this way, ranged attack rolls have disadvantage to hit you as the wind around you is too strong for most projectiles to land a solid hit. So that is the Volar, and their unique features along with their basic features that they would get. And with that is every single race in this book. We have now gone over every single one. All 21 races. Gosh, is a lot. That sound might have changed. That sound just changed. Well, this is going to be, so for next video, we're going to go over all 4 lineages that are in this book, but just a little hint as to what we're getting into. The lineages are the Hexed, the Nothing, the Kamala, and the Kolsk Infected. Now, these ones are not in alphabetical order, because Nothing should come last after the Kamala and the Kolsk Infected, but there is a connection between the Hexed and Nothings. But each one of these lineages that are going to be coming up are each based off of different curses or infections. These are not typically good things that happen to people. So I think these lineages that are going to come up will be pretty interesting. But with that should be the end of this video. Next video, yes, like I just said, we'll be talking about all 4 lineages in one video. I'm not going to split that up into 2 different videos. It shouldn't take super long. But yeah, with that, go ahead and call it for today. Hopefully, I don't get cut off. It'd be really awkward if I got cut off right when I was taking off this hat.